This is Art History with Kenneth on the KJL podcast channel, a series where timeless masterpieces are brought to life through the lens of artist and host, Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. Each episode takes viewers on a visual and historical journey, uncovering the stories, styles, and significance behind the world's most influential artists and art movements. From bold brushstrokes to revolutionary ideas, this is where the past meets creative perspective. The journey begins now.
Welcome to the Art History Show on the KJL podcast channel. I'm your host, Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., painter, storyteller, and curator of visual memory. This show is where we leave behind the stiff frames of academia and dive into the untamed lives of artists who refuse to follow the rules. Today's episode is titled Queen of the Night, Gertrude Abercrombie's Surreal Selves. We're exploring the world of a woman who didn't just paint what she saw, she painted what she felt. In a time when surrealism was often loud and crowded, Abercrombie created a private, dreamlike universe filled with moonlight, cats, empty rooms, and silent power. You may not know her name yet, but by the time we're done, trust me, you'll never forget it. Gertrude Abercrombie was born in 1909 in Austin, Texas, to traveling opera singers. She moved to Chicago as a child, a city that would shape her life and art. Her early years were marked by strict Christian Science beliefs, intellectual curiosity, and an eventual dive into Bohemian freedom. She studied at the University of Illinois and later at the Art Institute of Chicago. But what she really studied was herself. Her paintings were dreamlike portraits of her own physique, echoing loneliness, ritual, and female power. Abercrombie was known as the queen of Bohemian artists in the 1940s Chicago. Jazz musicians like Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker frequented her parties. But while they rifled in bebop, she rifled in solitude and shadow. Her personality was magnetic, witty, self-deprecating, sharp. She was small in stature, but towering in spirit. She often described herself as ugly, yet owned her image with such intensity that it became a signature. Abercrombie's work is distinctly surreal, but minimal. A lone woman in a black dress, a barren tree, a shell, a room with no exit. Her paintings are small, but often just a few inches across. But the psychological space inside them is vast. She painted herself over and over again. Witch-like, strong, unsmiling. Her trademark pointed hat wasn't a costume, it was a symbol of power, of solitude, of mystery. There's a stripped-down clarity to her paintings. No excess. Every object is deliberate. The moon, a ladder, a cat. These are not just objects, they are recurring dreams. Her compositions have the eerie quiet of a held breath. The air feels still, the figures frozen, yet something always hums beneath, a quiet tension. Abercrombie says she painted what I dream and what I feel. Her paintings were internal theaters, settings where anxiety, power, and the desire for control played out in haunting stillness. Critics called her style primitive, but she was always highly intentional. She said surrealism is meant for me because I am a pretty realistic person, but don't like all I see. Before we move on, I want to remind you to check out the other shows on the KJL podcast channel. The Muse Unveil Show, where I select a person to be my muse, learn their story, paint their portrait, and reveal the final piece in the cinematic episode. The unveiling happens during the show, not live, so get the full story and transformation from start to finish. Gallery and museum tours, where I take you behind the scenes of some of the most inspiring art spaces. And Art with Kenneth, my studio series where I walk you through my process in real time and in real talk. Also, If you enjoy the content and want to support more episodes like this, consider buying me a coffee. There's a link in the description. Every bit helps keep this channel independent and thriving. Abercrombie wasn't an artist chasing fame. She was chasing truth, her truth. She married twice but had one daughter and lived much of her life in a modest house where she painted, entertained musicians, and kept to herself. As her health declined in the 1950s and 60s, so did her ability to paint. Arthritis and financial struggles took their toll, but she continued to create whenever she could. She passed away in 1977, largely forgotten by the mainstream art world, but now, decades later, her legacy is rising. Gertrude Abercrombie's paintings may be small in scale, but their impact is growing. Recent retrospectives and critical reappraisals are placing her alongside great surrealists. She wasn't part of the European surrealist movement, but she didn't need to be. Her surrealism wasn't borrowed from Freud or Breton. It came from the inner mirror, a self-portrait of psychic reality. Her work has gained new visibility through social media and online auctions. Museums are acquiring her pieces. Younger artists, especially women, cite her as an influence. There's a raw honesty in her self-portraits, in the isolation, the sparse symbolism, the shadowy humor that resonates in her own era of introspective and self-invention. She's been called a Midwestern Marguerite, but I prefer to say this: Gertrude Abercrombie was her own world, sparse, surreal, witty, and wise. If you've connected with this episode and are inspired by the spirit of unique storytelling through portraiture, I want to remind you I am accepting commissions. No murals, but custom pieces on canvas, whether abstract or figurative, are always welcome. Each one is a personal collaboration, a one-of-a-kind original. Reach out if you're interested. That wraps up another journey through the life and legacy of an unforgettable artist. I hope today's story brought a little color, mystery, and meaning into your day, and maybe even sparked something in your own creative spirit. This has been Kenneth J. Sr., and you've been watching the Art History Show right here on the KJL Podcast channel. We'll be back soon with another episode, another story worth telling, another artist worth remembering. Until then, stay visionary, stay open, and always dig deeper.
Thank you for watching Art History with Kenneth on the KJL Podcast channel. If this episode inspired, informed, or intrigued you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. Kenneth J. Lewis Sr. returns every other week with more captivating stories from the art world, exploring the legends, the techniques, and the timeless works that continue to shape our creative world. Until the next brushstroke in history, keep watching, keep wondering, and keep the art alive.